What's up, my cheerful chocolate-covered strawberries, or random assorted fruits that you would prefer to be called, down in the comments below. This is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and we are back with another installment of the Weekly Nightwave, the series where we take a look at this week's acts and find the most entertaining or most efficient way to take them on. Now, as always, but not really always, we do have a Warframe of the week. However, the watch list is kind of on pause. But what we do have instead of that is some bets we need to make on some future Warframe releases. But before we get into any of that, let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got on the Nightwave. So first and foremost, we do have one of our dailies, which is Arsonist. Kill 150 enemies with heat damage, sorry. We have Biohazard, which is kill 150 enemies with gas damage. Then we move on to our Weeklies, which is fully socket 3 Ayatan sculptures. Earth Bounty Hunter, which, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I think all of the bounty ones are probably my least favorite of the Nightwave acts. That and Conservation. Those two make me want to like bash my head on my table. Then we have Earth Fissure, catch 6 rare fish in the plains of Eidolon. We have Protector, which is complete 3 mobile defense missions. Sortie Specialist, complete 1 sortie. Then we move into the Elite Weekly, Grove Guardian, which is defeat a Silver Grove Spectre. I don't like this one either. It's pretty easy, but I don't like it. Then we have Night Terror, which is complete 10 Nightwave missions of any type. Now, clearly, we do have some overlap here, where you can go ahead and do Night Terror as well as the mobile defense missions, but really I feel like that is pretty much it when it comes to kind of like the overlap. Everything else you're kind of stuck with, but hopefully doing that 1 sortie will get you another Ayatan sculpture. Wait, is that a positive thought, or is that a little bit of a curse? Now, like I was stating earlier, I'm really curious to see what your least favorite Nightwave missions are, mainly because of the fact that whenever the bounty ones come by and the conservation ones come by, I'm like, oh yeah, I really don't want to do that. I've had a couple recovered missions because, you know, I haven't been as on top of my Nightwave as I probably should be. I've made it up fairly high when it comes to it, like up to 23. I haven't been grinding them out because a lot of these rewards don't really apply to me, and there's no use in having 2. Just pointing that out, DE. If you want to do an intermission this long, maybe give us some options. Just putting that out there. But yeah, those ones I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I could go this entire Nightwave and just not do any of those. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Now, as you can see, our Warframe of the week is Cahora. Now, I can't really say that this is the strongest of recommendations, but as you guys will see with the footage that I'm actually going to be going ahead and tossing up after I show you the build, I just forgot how fucking good she is, and I didn't really forget, but it's kind of like one of those things, like, you know they're good, but then when you start playing them again, you're like, oh yeah, they're really good. And the big reason that I went ahead and talked about this is mainly because of the fact that I don't use Pilfering Strangledome. However, one of the missions from the previous Nightwave that I recovered was do a survival of 30 minutes, right? And I was like, well, I don't want to bring a Necros. And if people leave in the middle of the mission, I want to make sure that, you know, it's kind of smooth sailing and I don't really have to worry about it. So I figured, let's go ahead and toss on Pilfering Strangledome and see, you know, how it stands up to Desecrate. Now, of course, Desecrate is one of those things where it's easy. You just turn it on and you just make sure you have enough range on it to kind of like pop all of the extras out there. However, Pilfering Strangledome is one of those ones that you kind of like have to cast. And like you have to make a mental note to remember, put this down where there's going to be a lot of enemies so we can make sure to go ahead and get a lot of life support. And in all honesty, it worked out pretty gosh darn well for me. Now, like I said, I usually don't use Pilfering Strangledome, so what I would toss in is just something like Intensify in that spot. There's also an argument for the Whip Claw because, as you'll see in the footage, I like using that a lot, and we hit a lot of enemies at once with that. In fact, let me go ahead and toss that up in the background so that you guys can take a look at the mission that I was in just before this. So yeah, for me, Cora was just one of those ones that I know she's strong, but it's just a nice way to kind of like remember, like refresh your memory about a Warframe that you've previously liked. And maybe that's going to be my Warframe challenge of the week to you guys, is revisit a Warframe that you know is strong, but you haven't played in quite a while. Just to kind of like remind yourself, you're like, oh yeah, this was good. I actually did that a little bit earlier with Goss too, because I haven't played Goss in a while. So I was like, oh, let's fiddle around with him because, oh, that sounds dirty, but it's kind of like, I know he's a good Warframe. I've just been too busy doing other things to really pay much attention to him, and the missions that I was doing didn't really kind of like fit in with him. But this week I was like, let's take a break. Let's just play a little bit of Goss, and let me tell you, I love him. He's a good one. I've already used him in several other like Warframes of the week, so I didn't want to go ahead and revisit that. But what I did want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up on with the watch list is I haven't done anything new, and I'm actually accumulating things in the background that I need to go and watch. Right now I'm working my way through the feed, which is, I believe, on Amazon Prime, and then on HBO we have Watchmen, which is running out of episodes, and it just got really, really juicy. And then we also have His Dark Materials that I'm still staying on top of. The only thing that I want to incorporate in is I'm super behind on Mr. Robot, and in addition to that, I also need to watch The Expanse because some of you guys have been like shoving it down my throat, like, Rob, it's really, really good. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and check those ones out. If you want to check them out with me, just stay tuned. But what I want to discuss, because I love doing this when it comes to Warframe stuff, so I'm gonna kind of drag you guys into my little bit of a bet, and it's one of those things that I like to put out into the universe. There's no actual real kind of risk, so it's not really a bet, but I am putting my reputation on the line, is the order of releases. I feel like that's going to be an interesting topic with the fact that we've got Railjack Phase 1 already out with the Rising Tide, but, of course, we do have New War, which was promised to us before Christmas, right? Or Christmas-ish time. So, it's coming. It's December 1st. Like, and I'm looking at this like, holy shit. How, like, and here's the thing. I know December 1st comes around. The first 2 weeks is usually, when they gotta pump it out or not pump it out until next year, right? Because then, there's all the vacations and stuff that happens, and there's New Year's. So they really only have the first 2, maybe a little bit of the 3rd week in December to get it done. So a part of me is like, all right, in my head, I could see Railjack Phase 1 and potentially Railjack Phase 2, but then they have to push New War into next year. Or I'm thinking that maybe we have Railjack Phase 1, which is now, then we have New War sandwiched in between that and Railjack, because they're already talking about, like, threats from the externals. So maybe that's the way it's going to end up flowing. And then we don't get Phase 2 and Phase 3 of Railjack until next year. It's kind of like the completion of the Railjack is what brings us into, out of where we currently are now. So I think that my final bet for it is going to be, that we don't get Phase 2 until 2020, but we will get New War before Christmas. So it's going to end up being like maybe the Sentients come to us, like we end up having to fight the Sentients on our terms, and maybe we get teleported into the weird sentient area thing. And then after New War is done, when Phase 2 comes out for Railjack, we have to find our way back to the, sentient ship or something. Because I'm going to stick by their word. They said that they were going to get it done before Christmas, and I'm hoping that that's going to be the case. In addition to that, you also have to think they have a release with Avara Prime coming out, and I believe I said that was going to be about the 17th of December. At least I'm assuming, because, like I said, when it comes to, like, the 3rd week and so on and so forth, like, it kind of gets a little bit hairy there before they can actually get their releases done. And they usually have one Prime that comes out at about Christmas time. So those are my feelings. I could see like them really pushing to get Phase 2 out and then trying to get New War in, like in between like after Christmas and New Year's, like they're gonna try to get it out in that sliver of time, but I just don't see that feasibly happening. I don't know. Let me know what you guys feel about that in the comments below, because I feel like that would be a better flow. Phase 1, Phase 2, New War, and then the Phase 3 of Railjack. But I think that time's a ticking, and they might have to like switch gears, and it might end up being Phase 1, New War, Phase 2 at the beginning of 2020, and then Phase 3, you know, in February, March, because that's how long DE takes to roll things out sometimes. That's where I'm standing, and if I fuck it up completely, you'll have this video to refer back to and say, ah, Rob, you're so stupid. And that wouldn't have been the first time it's happened, but I do like kind of putting it out there into the universe, so just in case I do manage to get it right and be like, I told y'all, I told y'all, I told y'all. So let me know about what chocolate dip fruits you want to be down in the comments below. Let me know what you're betting on the release for everything to be as well. And if you're excited about Avara Prime, because I'm actually kind of sort of excited. Regardless, that about does it for me for now. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch yo chocolate dip banana. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Oh, and happy holidays!